Hey, it's Tim Wood here. Another Low Country Chronicle interview. Very excited for our guest today. Before we get to the mayor of Bluffton, just want to remind you uh, follow our Facebook page, and you see the graphic come up on the screen. Uh, you can follow us in the group where a lot of the discussion's happening. Like or follow us, our more business page, Low Country Chronicle. We're gonna, we're just starting to get the social media up and going. But the one thing I will definitely say is the more videos we do here, absolutely join the email newsletter, because that's where we'll put everything. It'll be kind of a digest of what we've done over the last few days. So join the newsletter. It's lowcron.substack.com, and yeah, that's where you can kind of find the archive. That's going to be kind of like the website for this. So that's where you'll get the archive of everything. All right, business out of the way. Really excited for today's guest. I've known her for quite some time now, and have seen the evolution of her in leading the town of Bluffton. Lisa Sulka, how are you today?
I'm great. As you see, I have two pets behind me that are gonna feel like they have to protect me. So if someone sneezes, they may bark. Um,
I know it well,
so
and
if they bark, I'm sorry. I don't know how to mute on Skype, but other than that, I'm doing great.
it's all good. So that's Doc, and who's the other one we might see?
Other one is so lovingly named. Where did he go? He left. Is named Pooh. My
Pooh.
godchild named Pooh after Winnie the Pooh.
Yep.
And he's a manly dog, but he has a Pooh is his name.
Nice. Nice.
The keeper. So those are my two children. You knew my children. Now these are the replacements.
Oh
They love.
yeah, the empty nest replacements, huh? Where okay, so before we get into the business, where are all your children at nowadays?
Well, my oldest, all three went to Bluffton High School. Two went to Clemson, and one went to Auburn. Brandon
Oh,
is our oldest. She's my runner. She
how did you deal with the Auburn?
Well, I was okay because it was the same color palette
Okay.
and it's the same mascot. They have the same songs, and it's kind of Clemson with a lake.
Okay.
Um, Rhiannon graduated Clemson. She lives here, married a fella that moved here from somewhere else, and they just had a baby. Haley just moved back. She was with MUSC in their planned development office, and she will start Monday with Christian Academy in their fundraising and also setting up a planned giving.
Wow.
I
That's awesome.
know.
That's
So
awesome.
she's back here. Michael is loving Charlotte, but I think Michael would move back here. He's just still having too much fun in the city right now.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I mean, you got 2 out of 3 back. That's got to be awesome for you.
Hey, I look at you
And a
like,
grandchild. Yeah.
yes, they lives here, so they better not think they're going to leave, or they have to leave in the dark of the night. Um, I'm trying to be like Larry Toomer. Larry has everyone in his family lives here. Bridget Fraser, everyone in her family lives here, and I want that. I'm very jealous when I
Absolutely. Yeah.
see that.
I've always same thing, and because I've always been the southern the southern office of my family, who's all up north, and have tried to get them all down here, and they just they'll come to visit, but they're just stuck in their ways up there. So I'm very envious of that. We've actually got my in-laws moving down, so that's
Oh,
gonna be awesome. They're moving to Sun City. They're building and going in July, so yeah,
awesome.
that will be very cool. All right, so enough about me. How are you? How is Bluffton in your eyes at this very moment?
You know, right this moment, Bluffton's doing well. I will survive. There's that song. Um, it was a tough year. I would say 2020 in personal, professional, and civic service has been the toughest year I've ever had to deal with in all three areas of my life. Um, but we figured out a way to make it fun, do what we had to do, and know that at the end of the day, we have to come out of it, or or we'll all cease to exist. So the light at the end of the tunnel was we will survive. We will come out of this. It's just took a little longer than I expected. But we're doing okay. We've had a few hiccups and a few little hurdles with some things that we have no control over. But other than that, we're good.
And I mean, you probably, I mean, all of us have never dealt with this sort of thing, this pandemic. But I mean, you've dealt with hurricanes, but this is a whole nother animal.
Oh, Lord. When I was, when you said you know me forever, I remember you and I sitting in my office in my other world talking about me running for mayor.
Uh
Years ago, Lord, and you've left and come back. Um, when I was elected mayor, we had an issue with the river. That was tough. Through it, always was ready for hurricanes. Always, I knew I had to stay. But in your head, you kind of just wish that it doesn't come. Well, we had one. That was new for us. We didn't know what we were doing, but we
Yeah.
tried to think out of the box. What would I want to know if I was someone that was told to evacuate? Then we hit with growth. That all the people that moved here because we did everything right, you dealt with those people that didn't like it. They wanted to be the last one in. That was hard. COVID, who would have
Yeah. Yeah.
thought in March of 2020 that we would be where we are today? Um, and it's a lot of thinking, learning from others, listening, cooperation. Our mayors are awesome. We all get together and we all have same issues and we just pontificate and listen to each other and commiserate with each other but we do work together. So long answer to I don't even know if it was a question. Um, that's been my life in public service. Every 4 years something happens.
I mean that those mayor meetings have to almost be therapy because there's only a few people in the area that actually know the depths of, of what each one of you are dealing with. So
I know. You know what? And it's not really a meeting. It's kind of let's go have coffee somewhere. And
yeah,
random. Maybe I'll meet with Mayor Williams, just the two of us, or maybe Mayor McCann, Mayor Williams, and me. So, but we try to hit north of the Broad and south of the Broad, and we all are so different. If you think about our towns, we all can be in a 5-lane highway going the same way, and have this different needs, but we have the same frustrations.
yep.
So it's really, I'm not competing with Hilton Head. We don't want to compete with Hilton Head. We don't want to compete with Hardyville. We all have kind of our niche. So it's very interesting.
It really is, and it's interesting in that everybody likes to be in their own space across the bridges, or but at the same time, there's this collective low country feel,
Mm.
and so when bad things happen, um, people, as much as there might be like this territorial in terms of, and like you said, the every town's different. When things happen, everybody comes together.
Right, right.
So
It's kind of cool in every circumstance. And that's that person who moves here from somewhere else, USA. It's almost like they come into our town and drink our Kool-Aid. And they have issues, truly. But I said the other day at the funeral of that young man at the vigil, when one person hurts, we all hurt.
yeah,
And that rings true. It's that feeling a good person has in their body. I don't care where they were born.
and those moments, they're extremely difficult. And I mean, DJ, I saw him growing up in youth sports, covered him extensively. I mean, just an amazing kid, and to see the family's amazing, and to see them suffering. I mean, it's difficult, but how do you answer the folks that say, "Oh, geez, this just never"? Now this is happening in our little Bluffton.
Yeah.
I mean, it's everywhere, but it's hard to it's hard to keep out.
No, you're right. You know what? I think not knowing any of the specifics because and I don't ask because I want this case to be so tight and smooth,
I
and
saw that in in the press conference. I thought that was awesome. Yeah.
whoever is responsible, I pity the fool, because I want this tight. And but it has happened. You were here. We've lost kids. All of my kids have lost friends.
Yeah.
Distracted driving, from being at the wrong place at the wrong time and a drunk driver hits them. They've had suicides. We've had the sadness kind of string from when we were a little tiny town growing. It still doesn't make the hurt any less, and it doesn't make the concern any greater as it was 20 years ago. But we are a growing town. We're a growing region. It's not just Bluffton. It's the whole region. I moved here in 82. I was in food and beverage. I saw what went on down I-95. There was the drug trafficking all the way down 95.
Sure.
That's how Ridgeland has such a great police station, and from capturing that. I don't know how to answer that. I feel like we've always had a little subset of something. Every little town does. This has been tough. And I'll add the young boys. That's probably that probably raised the bar. It made COVID seem, on the back burner.
Yeah, absolutely.
To sit in that stadium, if you're sitting by me, you and I sitting in that stadium, thinking back when that school opened in 2008. And sadly, I've been part of this since that time. And I feel so responsible and guilty because I love these kids.
Yeah.
That's my yes vote is, will it help kids come back? And I just feel so like I let them down. And I know it's not just me, but it's more that we can do to help these kids at an early age know there's a place to go and maybe not go down a path that they don't need to go down. These 3 kids were going down the right path. The right path.
Yep.
And why? I ask it every day.
Yeah, but as I said, I mean, and you've seen it time and time again, the way this town comes together in moments like that, and it's not just that immediate rush. Everybody, you've seen it where a funeral happens and then all the food stops. People stop bringing the food and stop move on to the next thing, and people don't do that here. Like the fields are gonna be in everybody's hearts for forever.
Oh yeah.
And when you see it on you see it every day on like Bluffton Ask and Answer, Bluffton Hilton Head Ask and Answer. Somebody saying, "I'm thinking about moving here. What can you tell me? Should I?" And it's like, I can't explain it. Like, you have to come here. Like, you said, drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
It's a really tasty Kool-Aid, and it's intoxicating. And once you see it and feel it and talk to folks and get ingrained down here, it's I can't describe it. It's indescribable and I'm a words guy. I can't describe it in terms of what this area means.
I know. Me either. And it's people who've lived here 100 years that have that resilience and that I'm going to do it myself. That's how we get things done in Bluffton. And then it's the new residents that come in and like, I want to be them. I want to be like that.
Yeah.
And that's the majority of this town. And we have our population that just, someone yesterday told me, you're growing too much. And Tim, I'm learning in this is my, I'm going to quote Dabo Sweeney. This is my, I don't give a crap year.
Yeah.
I said, with all due respect, well, ma'am, you came because of the growth. And she's like, oh, you're right.
Yep.
So gotta understand that. You come to be part of something, be excited about something, but learn, why are we where we are today?
Yeah.
A lot of things took place 25 years ago to get us where we are today. And I think for the most part, they were the right steps.
When you took over as mayor in 2008, you had, you had a personality crisis going on with Bluffton. You had the Buckwalter explosion, combined with Old Town, and a lot of territorial feelings about both,
Mhm.
and like how do we become one Bluffton? And although some of it's technically not incorporated in Bluffton, everybody feels like that's Bluffton,
Mhm.
and any area that's not on. I mean, I know just going up, going up 46 towards the post office, there's a cutoff. So, but people still feel like people. It's still Bluffton to them. So, I mean, how did you deal with that when you first came in terms of whether it be um, uh, whether it be commercial deals or just the marketing of it, the bridging of growing resentments. How did you deal with kind of melding those two personalities into one Bluffton?
Yeah. I think I go back to somebody, he's since passed away, but a man that worked with Thomas and Hutton when I was on council would always sit near me, and I'm looking at council when I bring all these development agreements are at my desk. And here I'm a mom of three little children in a town I moved to when it was 1 square mile and 450 people. And 2004, we annexed Simmonsville and Buck Island, and so we grew to about 4,500 people. And I never forget what he said. He said, "This is all going to make sense when we're closer to build out. It doesn't make sense right now." And I didn't really understand it, and I can't believe how fast it's gotten to here. But we are about 10 years before build out if growth continues the way it is. In 2008, 2030 seemed like a year,
Oh yeah.
generations from now. So I almost had a little bit of I remember that through elections. Oh, she works for the developer and she just wants growth. And I mean, the little next door Facebook little post. But I did understand the newer side. We needed it to make jobs and to create this Bluffton series of villages that Mayor Johnston always talked about. So I had a little reprieve, just a little cattiness kind of chat, but they never faced me publicly, to about a 5 year real deep concern of how about us? But the how about us actually came to light about 3 or 4 years ago, in a community. They had a real issue with a developer trying to change the layout of an area. And I don't want to call them out. Anyone can Google it.
Sure.
And myself and then Councilman Wood went out to meet them, and it
Good.
didn't make
Good
sense to
name.
me.
Good name.
And we denied it. We denied the developer what he wanted to change. And that group of new residents is like, thank you. And I think it's a lot of those little deeds set trust up. But speed forward to today. Oh my gosh, look what we're doing. We've got Buckwalter Place. That's the village. We've got New Riverside. Wait, give that, man. That Publix opening is a
Oh
game
yeah,
changer.
absolutely.
You wait till the library gets built on the other side and that other development where a man who moved here wants it to be a legacy, wants it to be something really special.
Which one are we talking about there?
New Riverside Village.
Okay.
And that's where the library just voted to look at buying some land to put a library out at New Riverside. Then we bought 40 acres at the New Riverside Barn. Again, actions. We're showing we're not just focusing, because I had a few years of you only care about historic Bluffton. Well, that's our downtown. That's our gym.
Yeah, we
that made
got
us
we got to
great.
care about that. Yeah, that's the bread and butter. And those people deserve to be cared about.
Yeah. And but it's all spreading now. So it was hard. It's hard to tell everybody that moves here, try to understand my feelings and my soul in it. I don't do this for the money. I trust you and swear to you that. I do it because I love Bluffton. And I try to look objectively at what's good for all 54 square miles. And some people are going to believe me and some aren't. And when they get to know me, they realize I am legit. And I think all of our council feels that way. No matter where they live, it doesn't matter. They want the best for everything.
I would definitely agree with that. I just cards on the table. You seem too good to be true. when I first met you, because you're so nice, and it's like, okay, is this an act? Is this just like a public persona? And whether it be just seeing you casually, or in those moments where you're not on camera, or there's not a mic in front of you, or in the tragedies.
Yeah.
That's when that's when people truly come out, and so I've seen it's
I don't know what my dog's doing.
she's the real deal. She's the real deal, folks.
I have never come to any meeting with an agenda. And my dad, you can look back and see how my mom and dad were. They believed in public service. I don't want to go anywhere further than this. I have no desire. I have no political path forward. This is my way of giving back. And I mean, how many mayors sit in their car at downtown Delhi and eat their salad with plastic fork? That's me.
Yeah.
Because I'm too busy going here and there and everywhere. So, hold on, let me just see what he has. He's got something. We'll see. And I have those too that keep me real.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I appreciate that, and I like that you can see me from afar, and I am who I am.
And one of the things I wanted to say, especially during the hurricanes, and absolutely, during the pandemic, I mean, but especially during the hurricanes, you were one of the first local leaders that really embraced Facebook Live, and
Yeah.
really embraced Facebook in terms of getting information out there instantly. And I heard from so many people during Matthew, especially, it made a difference. Like just having that comforting, like, okay, we're in the loop. We know what's going on, and having that comforting voice, like, no matter what, we're going to be here for you. That meant the world to folks.
Well, that was just, I've always, from 2008.
Was that Debbie Spankas, or was that you that said, let's get on Facebook?
Well, I'll tell you, 2008, Mr. Wynn, who is our head of our emergency, that he's now at USCB, he said, Mayor, when we evacuate, you have to be here. You have to be here. And I always heard that. Well, it didn't happen until 17. And there's like, everyone show up. I'm like, oh my Lord, what do I do? And I sat there with Debbie. I said, I cannot sit here. I had no role but to be there to represent council and to sign a check and to issue a curfew. That was my role as a mayor, representing council. And I said, this is killing me. I looked at Debbie. I said, I'm going crazy. And all I could think about was Hugo. When I was pregnant with my daughter on Hilton Head, and John made me leave, and he stayed, and we had no social media. We only had telephone. I had no idea what was going on. It was driving me crazy. So I went back to that going, that drove me crazy. We've got social media now. I wish I would have known it would have been so successful. I would have been every hour on the hour. So we kind of like, Debbie, you want to go out? I wish I'd have realized how important it was going to end up being. And we would have had it more scheduled. But I was shocked. And then I realized how many devices people message you on. I didn't know you had Messenger on Facebook then.
Uh-huh.
Like, I was getting calls in Spanish. I was getting emails from Hilton Head. And I know I didn't answer everybody, but I sure tried to text everyone back and to stay there. And I'm thrilled that our other departments took this on. I don't want to claim it. I'm just glad everyone learned from it. And now we have Nixle is so up. Beaufort County was getting on it. Hilton Head got on it. It's awesome that we can provide that. So
how do you deal with the fact that, and I mean, everybody's dealing with now, but especially public officials, you're always on now. Between the text, between the messenger, between like there's never like a period. I'm sure you find those moments, and going up to Clemson, I'm sure is one of those times. But yeah,
that gets me too.
Yeah, oh yeah. How do you balance and find that turnoff? Like, I've got to have this time for me and my family.
Well, I think my kids, and I hear a dog chewing on something, so I'm sure he's got something he's not supposed to have. So in your next question, I may get up and just go check on him.
If you need to, go ahead.
Let's
Seriously.
go see
Yeah,
what's going on.
yeah.
We'll talk.
Yep. Yep, yep. We're talking to Mayor Lisa Sulka from town of Bluffton. All
He
right.
was eating my book, a little devil.
Oh no.
So it goes back to you're like, who is she? I traveled cross country, volleyball, football. John would tag team with me. I, I'm not that mayor that people who moved here from thought I had I mean, I wish, oh, you buy your own groceries? Yeah. I actually cook too. I just kind of had to run my life as a mom growing up with this town. People saw me everywhere. I didn't mind seeing them in the grocery store because that all of a sudden I wasn't getting emails and phone calls because that people could just see and stop me. My kids just told me when the distillery opened, however, I overheard them because we're all adults now and we went to celebrate that. A friend was there and it's like, oh Lord, this is what we had to deal with growing up. Everyone came to talk to mom. And I didn't realize that. But I turned off. I actually separated my Facebook, personal Facebook. And I don't know if it caused an issue or not, but I never use that as a town or a public elected official page. I really have limited that. I keep it to just my friends, my pictures. I don't post a lot. And then I have a mayor's page that is absolutely wide open to whoever wants to do me. So I've tried to keep that separate. And I've never really felt overwhelmed by it. This last year, yes. I mean, anti-maskers, anti-vacciners, anti-pro-maskers, pro-closing everything.
The election.
The election. Yeah. The election killed me. Could the presidential election not have been quarantined and pushed it off 4 years or whatever? That hurt us because then all of a sudden saw all of us as a political entity, and we're not. We run nonpartisan.
Yeah.
I could have my own feelings, but that election just didn't help us.
And how the medicine behind this became political. We'll be looking at that 25 years from now. How that happened.
I told someone the other day, and I had somebody email, oh, wearing a mask, you're submissive. I'm like, wearing this, trust me, is not submissive. I get to actually stick my tongue out at people, and they're never going to know. Or I can frown with my eyes still looking bright. It's so political, and people were so concerned about one party over the other, they took a stance, and they forgot that we are 5 people on a council running nonpartisan, trying to do the best we can from the people we talk to at the grocery store, or we see on the baseball field, or we see on the river. So we got a little harder. I don't do cut and paste email responses. I'm never going to. And we had a lot, and it was just easy. I'm not going to, if you don't give me your name, if I see one concerned citizen, delete it. If you can't give me your name, I'm not going to respond to you. If you send a cut and paste, okay, I'll cut and paste a response. If your heart is there and you send me a heartfelt email, I'm going to respond.
Yeah.
And I think I do.
Yeah, and one of the things that struck me especially is just talking to the hospital staffs, and it's like seeing what they're in the middle of, and they're like, stop making this political. This is science. This is real. Just listen to the science, and we can get through this quicker. And hopefully everybody's on board, or a large percentage of folks are on board with the vaccine. What can you say just in terms of an update of where we're at as a town in terms of having access to the vaccine? I obviously see what's going on at the rec center, but for those that don't know, can you just update that a little bit?
Well, I'm working, yes. So I'm not hearing over the last 3 weeks. We're on a call every Monday with Russell Baxley at Beaufort Memorial, who has a place in Bluffton now. They're kind of staking ground in this area.
Oh yeah.
I follow MUSC a good bit because they are. I just think they give you the right information timely. And And then I got to St. Joe Candler and Tenet. So all of that combined, there's a lot of presence of all of those places. I'm not seeing any issue with vaccines, but as soon as I say that, I'm going to get an email that says there was an issue. I'm working now with some local businesses who hire kind of the underserved, but they have jobs, but they come in at 7 and they leave at 7. And if you've tried to find an appointment to get a vaccine, it's tough.
Oh,
It
yeah.
takes a long time. Nor do these people they go home. They maybe bus in, or, there's no transportation. So I'm working with them now in Beaufort Memorial to try to set up kind of a pop-up for those businesses. And then the chief and I are talking about maybe we can get somewhat like Bluffton Middle School, go into where some of the lesser, maybe people are just having some issues with the scheduling, but need to have the ability to get it if they want it. Because we have that underserved population too. We're
For
not
sure.
rich and famous here.
Yeah.
So whatever we can do, I kind of followed Mayor Williams does it. He has a larger underserved population in Hardyville, and he did a little pop-up at the elementary school with Coastal Carolina. So we're looking at all those things. The county is really taking it on, which they have more of the ability to do so. And like you said, at Buckwalter Place, they're going to look at Buckwalter Regional Park. They're going to look at that. So we'll spread their news out too. We'll take credit.
I saw they were doing some vaccines at the Ulmer pharmacy.
Ulmer has Johnson and Johnson.
Yeah. How does that happen?
They just got on a list.
Yeah.
Bluffton Pharmacy is on a list to get it. For a while, people could go, if they were the right age, could go to Savannah. I will tell you, I did a walk-in and got a shot. I mean, I had young people tell me I was at Publix at 8:00. Now, don't everyone run there. And if they had leftover, it was use it or lose it by
Yes.
law. And I said, don't feel bad. Do not feel bad. And the pharmacist said, have you had your shot? She goes, do I look like I'm 28? And they said, we'll give it to you. It's going to get thrown away.
That's the thing. It's like you said, use it or lose it. There was something online the other day that and we went through the scheduling thing, and Deb and TJ and myself all got the first dose at Coastal Carolina. But then right after that, I saw like a post like we've got 84 doses left that are use it or lose it. So first come, first serve, and like you said, some people might feel bad about that, but that vaccine's, I mean, just because of the cooling and that vaccine is going to be wasted if it's not used.
I have no concerns over that. I would never have stepped in front of someone who needed it. My dad died of COVID. I wish he could have gotten it. And I know how that feels to lose a dad before, he's 93, but he was going to live to be 100, he told me. So, I would never, ever do that if they have the ability to get it. But if it's out there, I just wish we had some streamlined way, some app, some site. I mean, Georgia seems to know what they're doing. It is just amazing what they're getting. I wish we had a drive around. I wish we had a mobile vaccine.
Yeah, a drive through yeah.
But at the same time, we have these first responders and nurses and doctors that are dealing with other things that go on with life.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're getting, Bluffton, if it's not working, we're going to find a way to rework it. So we're going to follow it really close.
When in terms of just the engine of government, I saw a post the other day that the courts are opening to in-person stuff. In terms of town council, when do you see you guys getting off of Zoom?
Yeah, we passed in sometime 2020 an electronic meeting ordinance that no other municipality had around here, that would help us with hurricanes, with, I don't know, travel.
If 3 people are sick or traveling or yeah.
Yeah, I was away for my birthday. I was at an airport for 3 hours. I could have gotten on electronically, but it wouldn't have counted.
Yeah.
So we passed this electronic ordinance where we can meet remotely or not, hybrid or not, whatever. So last couple of months ago, our town manager left and went to Hilton Head. A little bit of things dropped through the cracks, and we were working on a plan to start that. And we picked it back up last month. I am so respectful of my council. I've got council that has feelings about different things with this. But with that electronic ordinance, those that are not ready can call in. And so what we're shooting for is May. We're going to discuss it in April. Scott Marshall has the plan. It's not going to be public, but it's going to be council meeting together if they feel comfortable, and staff coming in to make presentations and leaving. And then we'll probably still do the call-in public comment. But my hope is to have a couple of spots for press, because the press is the public, and have them there to ask questions they feel that the public would like to know about. We've lost that. I don't get to talk to Bluffton Today, to Dan Hunt. I don't get to talk to Kaysen in public anymore, or you. I miss that.
Yeah.
So that's our plan. We'll see. If something spikes or something goes crazy, we may push it off. But our plan is May, and to discuss it in April about what we're going to do. And there's no shame on anyone who doesn't want to show up. I think it actually is more of a leadership role if they feel the need to make a point because they're a certain demographic or they're a certain, if they don't want to show up, they're going to get treated just like they were sitting to the left or right of me.
Absolutely.
So stay tuned.
Okay, cool. And we're starting to see some in-person, whether it be festivals or the farmers market or what Babby did this past weekend. Thankfully, the weather cooperated. We're starting to see some back together sort of things.
So it gives you that light at the end of the tunnel. It's just that little glimmer of excitement.
Absolutely. Is there what that of? Is there any of those sort of things coming up? Maybe Babby hasn't dreamed up anything this week anyway. So
she's about an every 2-year dreamer.
Yep.
That was cool. And you should look into who she had on her front porch playing the saxophone. That was the best kept secret around.
Was that Richards?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I was out of town, but I almost canceled my plans to see my son just to see if anybody else called on. But that was cool. And that she just draws that kind of coolness.
Oh, yeah.
I heard it was great. The Gullah Market is moving in April to be at Martin Family Park. So that's going to bring another event, food market kind of gathering in town. But yeah, I always throw whatever Babby says she wants to do, I just say yes.
And again, I know it's not in the town, but I really like this idea of this food truck pavilion. Just the backyard state of mind. It's a great use of an empty space, and I know that there's this yin and yang thing going on in terms of food trucks and where they can be, and this gives them a central place to be.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of food trucks.
Oh, me too.
Because again,
too much.
Who goes there other than us? It's the worker at Evacor who only has 30 minutes to grab lunch, that 28 to 35-year-old.
Yep.
It's our average age who has kids that want to do something different and they don't want to sit at a table, and they kept us going. There are restaurants that utilize food trucks that kept their lights on this past year.
Absolutely.
So I went down a lonely road several years ago on food trucks, but I still support them. Marty Golson did it also at the western end of Bluffton across from Stock Farm, and she had a little area you could rent a food truck, and she's had 2 or 3 there kind of randomly. So the State of Mind backyard, I can't wait to ride by there today and look at it. It gives them the opportunity to build a business from the ground up, and maybe they do open bricks and mortar one day. Mm-hmm. Maybe they're just happy having a food truck.
There's this one guy, Big Dog Tacos, Joe. You actually talked to him when he was starting up. He's like this classically trained uh, chef that's worked in Paris, worked with Gordon Ramsay and Wolfgang Puck, and when his wife passed away, he needed a change of pace. He and his sons moved down here, and bought a food truck, this Big Dog Tacos, and it's an amazing story. He's like really cool guy, and just those sort of stories are amazing.
Yeah. I think that was the one that was mentioned on Charleston's chamber site as one of the top Mexican food trucks in the state.
Yep.
And my daughter told me, I'm like, I went there. So, I'd rather them succeed or fail in something like that than to come in and big a big building and fail, and now we have an empty building, and you get the areas, get a few through there, and all of a sudden you feel like it's a jinxed site.
Oh yeah.
So it's I'm excited about it. I still love to sit down and be waited on. I love
Oh yeah.
every
Yep.
restaurant that gives me water in a glass.
Yep.
But like I said, there are days I'm in a rush, and I don't have time to sit there, and I will sit in my car and watch people walk by and eat my rice bowl or my taco.
Um, one of the things, just in terms of just catching up with you, that I wanted to ask you, how did you guys survive the recession and this feeling that the promenade is just sitting there empty for the most part, and like, is this ever going to take off? Was like, how did you guys get through that in terms of just sticking to the plan?
Yeah. Wow. That was a long time ago.
Oh yeah.
No, everyone pivoted. Everyone pivoted. Even the developer kind of sat back and changed his look of what he wanted. And I think it's for the better. I look at that promenade. Can you imagine 11 or 12 buildings that look like the several that are there? That project was supposed to be nothing but those tall, long
Yeah.
buildings.
Yeah.
So he pivoted out of need, and now we have Corner Perk. That wouldn't have been there.
Yep.
Corner Perk Farm, Edward Jones, all of those would have
The
been part of
barbecue. Yeah.
big. The town had done very well with development agreements and fees and budgeting and fiscal responsibility. We had Shirley Freeman, thank God, who understood what we need to do to get through it as a town. Our millage was low. Oh gosh, our millage value was $69,000 a mill. I'll never forget that, thinking, oh my Lord. And now we're up to almost 267.
Wow.
So it was that coulda, woulda. You know what we should have done? We should have taken advantages of the foreclosures and bought as many as we could, and there would be our workforce affordable housing.
Yeah.
solution. So that's a coulda, woulda. But we did. We kept the lights on. We didn't lay off a lot of people. We did lay off some, but really tried to reinvent where they were. Promenade worked with us. That developer said, I got to make this work. And I think he did.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Jumping back to the present, you mentioned May River Crossing. What other like one of the things I'm doing now, I'm working with Lynn and doing some new business updates, so I'm constantly looking at where things, like that spot that I thought might be a Parker's on the Parkway is actually going to be like a flooring company spot. Yeah. And then that spot, yeah, what was the other one? Anyway, I mean, what can you tell us in terms of what's coming, what's on? Oh, the K1 Speed, I'm all excited about.
My gosh, I met with the owners of that
McBrides,
yesterday.
yeah.
Yes, and those are things that I'm saying we're dealing with what we had on the books and how are we conforming to what the needs are today. That Belfair Plaza didn't allow for a grooming of animals. Well, in 2000 whatever, not everyone had an animal.
Right.
What's there, but and it also didn't allow that use. So we're starting to see what works for Bluffton. What are our needs? I am so excited over that because that attacks our average age and gives that average age and their children and their parents something to do.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I too want to know. I've got some places outside the town that I'm just dying to know what's going on in the town. If you go to our Town of Bluffton page and then go to our maps, you will see, and I'm on it on another little thing, under Map Gallery, if you go under Business and go under Map Gallery, you'll see a map that talks about building permits. You'll also see
Hey, it's Tim.
church.
Um,
She's about an every 2 year dreamer.
yep.
That was cool.
Classically trained.
You'll
That's under
see
that's
here.
under
Oh,
business, or where is that?
so you go on our page and you go to business.
Business. Okay.
You go to Map Gallery.
Map gallery. Okay.
And that pops up and scroll 1, 2, 3, 4 rows down on the very end. There's a permit application finder.
Oh, okay. Yep.
If you click on that, you'll see every permit pulled in the town of Bluffton. And sometimes it'll tell you where they are in terms of what it is. Sometimes they'll tell you who it is that's building it. But at least you'll know, oh, that lot was cleared. What's going on? So, you go not outside the town, but you go over there and it should tell you kind of what the steps are and where they are in terms of planning. So now I can't find one to give you an idea, but so there's a new residential on Simmonsville Road. If you click on that, and it talks about when they applied and when it expires and what is the zoning. So at least it gives you kind of an idea of what's going on. Well, here's one. It's on Buck Island Road, right across from Eagles Field. So there's a permit pulled. I did not know that. They're going through a master plan amendment. So, it's something to kind of look at and keep an eye on what's going on.
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
and um, what can you tell us in terms of things that may have been approved already that we may? Is there anything in terms of spots around town, or even that you may know of
Yeah.
that people might think is Bluffton, but is county? Is there anything that we might not know about?
Well, I don't know. We meet with the county, and that is on my list after last meeting to really get a handle on, like, what was that land being cleared at the circle? I thought, well, I knew it wasn't a Parker's because I talked to him a good bit, but what was it? Like, why didn't I know about that?
Yeah.
In the town, I think the areas to really focus on right now is that New Riverside Circle, the Publix. Over there, Starbucks is coming. Now, they're holding off a few months because they're waiting to see about who can come in and what their protocol is going to be.
Right.
Across the way, it's New Riverside Village, or New Riverside Village. Okay, that's the library. That's exciting.
Yeah.
They're talking to several restaurants, a local coffee shop. It's going to give that area, the kids going to May River High and kids going to work and back and forth, a place to go.
And the whole Cypress Ridge, I mean, right down 170. I mean, that's like
Oh my
three
gosh.
3 seconds away with Cypress Ridge
And
and
that
Lawton
goes back to
Station.
that
Yeah.
man telling me wait till it's all built out. It makes sense. The traffic's going to calm when people don't have to drive Bluffton Parkway, 170 Bluffton Parkway to go to Publix. Now they're think about that traffic that's going to buy their groceries every day.
Oh yeah.
That whole community has a place to go. You're going to see less traffic on Bluffton Parkway now. There's supposedly a putt-putt course going in by
Yes.
Publix on Buckwalter.
Very excited about that.
The Culinary Institute is going up, and that's going to be amazing. Then you switch over to Washington Square, which I'm going to call that developer. Low Country Produce is going to be, you're going to feel very urban when you walk in that place. And it's all local farmers within a, circumference of 150 miles, I think. They're going to have, they're going to have a take and go. They're going to have chopped salads and fresh baked goods you can take and cook later.
That's awesome.
That's going to be cool. And that's
Oh
May
yeah.
or June grand opening.
I mean, to see how quickly it's going now, they might have stalled for a little bit with supplies being an issue during COVID, but now they're just humming.
Well, look at the chef they just hired.
I
That
know,
man's known all over the world.
I know, I
I
know,
mean,
and then combine that with just all the local folks that they're hiring. I love when they've had a lot of the postings, getting to know our staff even before they're opening. It's awesome, and you see these people that you've seen around town forever, and it's like, oh, awesome, he or she, yeah, he's there, she's there. That's gonna be awesome.
well, it's that, and there are jobs that people want to work today. Maybe it's not where you want to work. Maybe it's not your top four jobs, but there's a place that you can go in and work and be with an amazing company. There's a, super secret project that our Economic Development Corporation is working on that's going to retain and create new jobs at Buckwalter. And, that's going to come to fruition. I talk to Evacor all of the time. They have found the remote. First, they thought remote working was the way to go. So, do they need the structure? But through the remote, now those same people are saying, I need a place to meet. So, they understand bringing back this young group in to collaborate is important. But I think we're building up such an infrastructure. And if this other company comes to that area, and the Culinary Institute and the Don Ryan Center and the brewery and the putt putt and all of that creates, this old town, 2.0. And now all these residents get to bike and walk to a place. And Frankie Bones, that place packed.
Yeah.
People close by, they're very
Do you ever
keen.
think? I mean, do you ever think you'd see four Publix with in town? You ever think you see Frankie Bones like in Bluffton?
No.
It's like things like this that are like, that's so cool.
Well, and then go to Berkeley Place.
Yeah,
And Sulax, who opened up that really, really cool, like, game place.
yeah,
And they have Ninja Warrior. That Craig Richards was on Ninja Warrior. To have them coming to pick somebody from this area, they're going to have a Ninja Warrior like tryout there. And then you go upstairs and they've got this baseball high tech.
yeah.
It's crazy. And then okay, go across the street and ride a golf cart. Now we're starting to see people are focusing on what our average age is, and they are taking advantage of it, and I love it. So,
Absolutely. Um, in terms of how are you balancing the environmental concerns and staying on top of the river concerns and with all this development, this influx of folks, the infrastructure that you're needing to build out for that. How do
yeah.
you balance all that?
Well, good news came out last month that some of our numbers are dropping. So what we're doing with this MS4, and don't ask me too much more than I just know it's a mandate from the federal government, and it has to do with stormwater. But we jumped on that way before they mandated it. The numbers are going down, and some of the oyster beds are opening again. So that's good, but we can't drop it. We have Palmetto Bluff, who lives and dies by that river. We have the county that owns most of the land on the river, and then we have Little Bluffton. So the partnership with the county and Beaufort Jasper is super important, and we're working with the county now to take on the whole partner with Beaufort Jasper, the town of Bluffton, and the county to just take on that whole May River Watershed Action Plan that is in and out of the town. So the town land on the river, take away Palmetto Bluff, goes from um, maybe a little bit Church of the Crossish to Oyster Factory. That's all we own on there. So we can get all the septic to sewer in that area, but if you go next door and they don't want to convert to septic sewer, nor are they told to, what are we doing? So we're working on our ordinances to see if we can use our stormwater fees. The town does, and the county is looking into changing that ordinance where they can bond off their stormwater fees. And let's just take care of all $35 million worth of projects. That's huge. And we have all three of us at the table. And it could be a template for the Okatee and, all the other watersheds in the county and their respective towns. So we're updating our ordinances on stormwater. We had first reading and we're pushing off second reading just because we wanted to make sure our formulas were all correct and the engineers are using the same formulas that the town of Bluffton is using. We're doing a regional stormwater plan like that. So it's always first and foremost, we spent a ton of money on that river. And I'm glad to see some positive results. We just have to it's just the gift that keeps giving. We're going to have to always spend money on that if it's important to us.
Absolutely. I really appreciate your time. A couple quick more questions. In terms of put your realtor hat on, prices exploding here. Demand, supply, just the insanity of actually just having supply now, having inventory, in the middle of a pandemic. I mean, anything we might have thought that might have slowed down with real estate, it's the exact opposite of what people might have thought. What has this been like for you to see in terms of just and then I guess the other side of that would be, how do we control it so that it's not cost prohibitive for young families to come in?
No. Well, I don't know how to control it.
Yeah.
I am not your typical realtor who's looking to get the next community built up so I can sell it. I'm that weird one. Like you said, you can't quite figure me out. I believe in quality over quantity, with an express focus on affordability as well. So you got to work with the right developers who believe in affordability and believe that our lives exist because of young people getting in the workforce and being able to live. And that's why we're so focused on affordable housing in our town. But we can't build enough to take care of all of our workers. We just can't. So we need that support. The pricing is crazy.
Yeah.
I have time to talk to you because I have more buyers than sellers right now.
Yeah.
And realtors are not they're busy keeping their buyers on the hook to find the right thing. But it scares me. It's not crazy like 2006 though. If you think about the two times, 2005 and 6, I could have sold this pen for whatever I wanted.
500,000, yeah.
But my pen was getting 150% financing.
Yeah. Yep.
Now,
Yep.
150% financing in 2009, we had so many foreclosures because everything was financed to the hilt.
Yeah.
Most of my buyers are paying cash, or they're putting 30 or 40% down. I don't see us dropping like we did over in 9 because there are a lot of cash buyers, more so than that.
That in and of itself is crazy. It's awesome that people are saving and that people have the cash and whatever industries and millennials and this earning boom. But I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, it hit home with me, which I think what I do outside my public service life really helps me on the role of mayor or council. I had a listing in a community and it was a horrible, the renters let it go. There was stucco issues. There was dry rot. There was rot in every windowsill. Honestly, you needed to probably put about $200,000 in it. It was in a community that was in a 450 to 600 community. We listed it and the seller knew it. The parent died and it was given to the daughter for $2 something. I bet I had 100 calls and half of them were teachers and it broke my heart. No, I want it. I'm like, you don't understand. This is 450,000. I mean, I cannot even in good faith tell you to go for it because it was at a price. We're missing the 250 price point.
Yes.
One to 250. If we could somehow put, something is, I don't know how a government works with the private sector on it, but how do you keep it at that when at the same time you want you or your daughter or son or somebody to move in there to be able to move up? You want them to move up as well.
Sure.
So we got to work on our inclusionary zoning, which is we have passed and working on 20%. There's a number that has to be affordable. We have to educate our public that affordable is not subsidized housing. Affordable are some of my friends in the real estate business in 2009.
Yeah.
And affordable are some of our people this right now that lost their jobs. So education, that we need support on that. Our affordable housing can be a couple with 3 children that are, maybe one's a fireman and one's somebody else. I don't even want to shame the
whatever it be. Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Yeah.
When you see what our average income is that people make, you're not too far under where you can hit our 80 to 100 and plus % low to moderate income. And we're working on that. We've got a developer. I think we can knock out maybe 50 to 100 rooftops in the next year or two where we put deed restrictions because the town owns the land.
When I talked to Bill Herb Kurzman for the CH2 article over the summer, he mentioned that he's working on he's working on that. So
yeah, his heart's in the right place on that. He's got kids, he's got friends of his kids, he's got people in his business that need to live here, or they're gonna leave. So the other good thing, I think, if we realize it's not that far away, is utilizing more land, cheaper land in Hardyville. Maybe that boutique little residential area in Ridgeland. That's not, I don't want people to leave here, but there are options that you could buy. I think rentals are hard. I just had someone call me. I can't find a rental for my son. He just graduated. And, a 1-bedroom is $1,200 a month. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So we've got to have more.
When we were moving back in August, I mean, just finding a rental for that fit our family was crazy. We ended up, thankfully found a spot and a great guy in here in Shell Hall, but it was like for a while there we were like, okay, so are we gonna be able to go? Are we gonna go find a place?
Be picky on where you're gonna live. There's no place in Bluffton I wouldn't live, really.
Yeah.
I mean, there may be a street or two I probably would rather not, but if you don't, there's not a place on Buckwalter I wouldn't live.
Yeah.
Not a place. So
absolutely.
Don't be picky. Pick it up and get it if you're a renter. But we just have to, I have a daughter who's 29. She doesn't want a roommate anymore. So where is that $800 or $900 a month rental for that single career person?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that worries me. The whole market is just concerning to me. And, I talk to a very good agent. I always talk to people who do better than me so I can learn. And we all agree, isn't it sad? Usually I know the answer, but I'm like, I don't know if it's listed too high. Like, nobody knows.
Yeah.
So I think the buyer is a little more discriminatory. They're not going to overpay by a huge percentage, but they're going to overpay by 10 to 15%, when an appreciation should be 5% a year. They'll pay that 10 or 15% above market value if it appraises.
Absolutely. All right. So, and my last question was just, I mean, when you ran, I remember us talking, but I don't remember saying, okay, are you in this for 20 years? When you ran in 2008, did you figure 13 years later you're still going to be doing this?
No. I drank Kool-Aid on a mixed Kool-Aid drink, I think. And let me tell you, Charlie Wetmore is one of my dearest friends. And not knowing Charlie 1.0 and Charlie 2.0 are two different Charlies.
Right.
Charlie
yeah.
Very young. I'm so proud of him for getting involved. He's on our planning commission now. And I think he and I are each other's biggest defenders and We have each other's backs on almost everything. And I would have hated it had he done that to me in reverse. It I can't tell you why. I was scared to death to run for mayor. I was scared. My family, who didn't want me to run for council, almost signed the paperwork for me. You've got to run. They know who I am. They knew me. And I think if I couldn't run today, not having grown up with this town, it's a lot to
Is
take
that
on.
right?
But
Really? Like
I,
if you were
I
running
love,
for the first time, just coming into
I,
town, or is that coming into town, or is that you being here for so long?
I was intimidated when we were 13, 600 or 700 people.
Yeah.
I was scared to death I was going to make the wrong decisions. I had a mayor before me that looked 2 years out, and I looked 2 hours out. I mean, that was me. And I guess I was the right fit because I lived and learned it as I grew. I don't know if I'd have done, there are a couple things I'd have done differently. And one day I'm going to write all this in a journal so I don't forget. Um, got looking back, but I think I grew up with the town and now it's just so easy. It's so easy and with these big hurdles in the way. But no, I had no idea what this road was gonna take me down. But then the next 4 years no one ran against me. What was I gonna do? Not run?
Yeah. Right.
I mean, someone had to be mayor. And then the next time someone ran against me, I'm like, no, I do think I can do better. So I had to run against that person. And then this last time, no one ran against me again. So I welcome people to run for council and run for mayor. I hope more people get involved at a lower level, not lower, but a parallel level of commissions and committees and come into councils and really understanding, the other side of the table. But, we have an election this year, so we'll see who runs for council. And
How many
yeah,
seats are
oh,
open? How
I
many
didn't
seats are
I'd be
open?
here right now. I don't know what I thought I'd be doing.
How many seats are open this year?
Two.
Two. Okay.
Mhm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Um, did you like how much? I mean, do you have some sort of master plan in your head that you've shared with anybody, or that you want to share in terms of how much longer you want to do this?
You know, Last year I was going to end it today. Last
Yeah.
year was very in my face. Like you said, there are negatives and positives. The positives were, which is kind of a negative, I knew who always had my back because their true colors came out. The ones I thought we were on the same page, residents and others, we were not on the same page.
And that sucks.
And it does. So
Yeah.
at least I know who I'm dealing with now.
Yep.
Um, it was hard. I don't know if I knew what I was doing was right, wrong, indifferent. Whatever we did affected so many people. Everyone was split down the middle. You were loved and hated equally. And I see now, Tim, I came into this thinking everyone liked me. Um, but I guess everyone doesn't. I'm like, what'd I do to make you not like me? And it was really, I had a little meltdown moment about June. And I don't know, I love what I'm doing. I love it. It does interfere in my personal career. It really has hurt that a bit. But I also want our kids to be here. And I know there's someone else that can want that same want. And maybe that's what I need to see is someone else, you make the tough decisions to keep our town young. We do not need to be a bedroom community. I just don't believe that with my heart. So I don't know. I don't want to run for any other office. I will tell you that. This is where it ends. I would, if I had to put up with
Well, I
what
mean,
I,
you've proven that. I mean, you've proven that. Oh, the people that thought, oh, well, this is going to be a stepping stone. And you've had those star moments where I'm sure you've had folks in the party leadership or whatever saying, "Wow, all right, all right, this seat's open. You should run for state legislature, or you should do this, or you should do that, county council, whatever it be."
yeah,
But you've shown your colors in terms of Bluffton is where it's at for you.
yeah. Well, and when you're in a seat that's nonpartisan for so long, people don't really know where would I run? Like, what would I do? Because I'm sure I've made both sides very angry, but someone told me when no one's happy, you've made the right call. Would I want to help somebody one day if they ran for governor or president, or would I like to be in that world? Maybe. Um, but I'm happy here. I'm really happy. There's some things I think we'll get through in the next 3 years, and I'll figure it out the year of whatever, 4 years, 3 years from now. But until
Any
I stop liking it, and I haven't stopped liking it yet.
Nice. You had that little maybe that moment last year where yeah, like you said, little crisis moment, and we all did. I mean, but I mean, I can't imagine having it as mayor. So I mean, we all survived it. You survived it. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. Um, Before I let you go, any plugs you want to any plugs you want to get out there? Anything we missed that you want to get out there that we haven't talked about?
Well, one thing I'd love to interview you on our Facebook Live biweekly thing we do. So I'm gonna put Lindsay on it because I wrote down all your sites. I gotta like them all because I think what you're doing is very cool. It's just getting fun news. You ask good questions. It's just kind of getting the message out. So I want to do that, but I can get you later on that. We are going through our comp plan. And our comprehensive plan, if people don't know about it, look it up. It is the Bible of any government. The county is going through it, and we are on our update. And any help anyone wants to give, we've already set up kind of a stakeholders committee, but there are going to be multiple times where you can get involved on how you want to see our town over the next 7 years. So I would really push that a lot. You're going to see it a lot. So that's probably the biggest thing. That was something I had to learn, like what's a comp plan? Well, every chapter has to deal with our life. It's our Bible. We are really working on a little more infrastructure in the historic Bluffton because, it's the only place in Bluffton where power lines are still above ground, which is a plus for the new areas. They have pathways and power lines are buried. We're going to be working on that probably over the next couple of years. So you don't see Dominion coming and cutting our trees to nubs like they just did this last couple of months because of power lines. So
Yeah.
those are probably the two things to be aware of.
It's funny when you get out, and I talked about this before we got started. Just getting outside the fishbowl. I got so used to this idea of a comprehensive plan. I thought every town did it, and then I go to this town, lived in this town up 50,000 population city, outside of Boston, Methuen, and they didn't have a master plan. They didn't have they weren't even thinking 5 years out, you know,
Yeah.
and so like that, you know. I'm glad to get back to a place that's thinking a little bit out, a little farther out. I know it's not always easy in adapting to or thinking about what we're going to be or what this build out's going to be or how the economy is going to impact that but it's important.
It is. One other thing, I have to give kudos to Brian McElwee. He's our engineer in Bluffton, and he is amazing. His team, and he's over Public Works as well. His team's the one that comes up with, on top of the engineering, the cool little aspects. Like he came up with the big swing at Wright Family Park. He's
It's
thought of these
fantastic.
really great ideas on everything. So I'm got a shout out to him. I'm a fan. He put together a grading plan that we are passing that's going to eliminate a developer from coming in and clearing everything out at once. That's going to help the environment. It helps slowly integrate a community into a community. And I hope, causes a little less stress on residents who just don't know. But it works for us. It'll be phase by phase. And it is going to be a little more costly on the developer. And it may increase some prices, but we got to balance that.
Yep.
And that was his genius thought, during COVID. So there was a plus.
Nice.
But that's going to be something very important for us to to put into place because
Awesome.
we are growing. We've got 10-ish more years of growth with the number that's on the books. So how do we manage it?
And I think there's a lot of people, and I heard that from somebody the other day that we're technically only 50% built out. Is
Yeah,
that?
with commercial and yeah, well, commercial and residential. So we're higher on the resident. Residential is what seems to be bothering. It's just the rooftops.
Yeah.
But I think we're like split it up. We're higher on the residential, and commercial does follow residential. So you got no complaints over Publix going in.
No.
But if Publix was a residential community, I promise you we would have gotten conversations.
Oh yeah.
So it's kind of, we want it, we need it, we don't want it, but we do want Trader Joe's, and we're getting Costco and Pooler.
I was just gonna say that the one thing that I was because that was always the thing at Bluff. Like every time we had those conversations, every time we put it out on Vox or whatever, Vox was full with Trader Joe's, Trader Joe's, Trader Joe's. I'm shocked that Trader Joe's is still not here.
Well, I had a connection with a man who was part of this movie theater, and now he's moving to Buford. He goes, what is it y'all need? I said, well, apparently we need a Costco. Never walked into one, and a Trader Joe's, which I have walked into, and I'm sold. I'm on that bandwagon. He connected me with the Costco guy, who absolutely confirmed with me they are building in Pooler. And I said, I'll take Pooler.
Sure.
It's 20 minutes away. It's a big box that won't be empty in our town one day.
Yep.
Put it there. He now has a connection with Trader Joe's. So I'm like, okay, I'll take her to Trader Joe's. They like small parking lots, but they like urban, man.
Yeah.
They like Charleston.
Yeah.
And
a lot of people say Aldi too, and Aldi's the same way. They like urban.
Yeah. Okay. So, Mrs. Jones, you don't want any more residential units coming here, but you're dying for a Trader Joe's, and
can't have it both ways. Yeah.
So I'm writing Trader Joe's every week. Don't us. This is where we are. We have Savannah and we have Buford, and we have that drive market that will fill your parking lot up. But I found out there's not one Trader Joe's that's failed. Not one.
No,
and they
no.
ain't gonna risk it unless they're for sure it's gonna succeed.
Top Golf is the new one. Since I got back, Top Golf is like the new Trader Joe's in terms of what I hear from everybody. Every time I bring that up, Top Golf. So.
Yeah, Top Golf. I have somebody who wants to do a BMX track, a bike track. We're getting the go-karts. It's coming.
Yeah.
And you know what? There's some great land on 278 that I see under contracts on now. And, somebody who's thinking better, jump on now. Because that land on 278 to Hardyville is getting sold. And I don't know what's going to be built there, but I would love Top Golf. I saw one in Charlotte this weekend.
It's pretty cool. They're doing the Top Tracer, essentially the same technology. They're doing that out at Palmetto Dunes. They're opening next week. The driving range at Palmetto Dunes is converting to this Top Tracer range technology. So you'll get the Top Golf experience out there without the gigantic structure that how Top Golf opens. So that will be.
We have golf courses around that could, refresh into something else, reimagine.
Yeah, it'd be interesting.
I'll look at that.
All right, don't hang up. Once I sign off here, I want a couple off-screen questions for you. But huge thank you for doing this. You gave me way more time than I expected. The whole idea of this, we'll do quick hitter interviews. I'm gonna do some live shows with it. That's more of like a today sort of format, but these sort of longer interviews we'll put up as podcasts, and I think people, as much as everything's like bam, 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 instant, I need to see the next picture of cool cats on my phone, people still want to hear people talking and having conversations. So that's part of the idea here, is just to let some of these interviews breathe. And so I really appreciate the time.
Well, I'm jealous because this is what I wanted to do. This was my COVID idea, but I bought the microphone.
Well,
Well,
hey,
just
listen. I mean, I was like just you running the Zoom meetings. I was impressed. I mean, that was that. You were the host. You were doing good stuff there.
well, they're cats. I'm herding cats sometimes. But I love who I sit with. I love them dearly. I don't agree with them all the time, and nor do they agree with me. But I have such respect for someone taking the time to sit on a council. I do.
The
Uh,
fact that we're still in so much of the world right now is polarized and you can't have conversations like everybody needs to be in their own bunker. Um,
yeah.
I found that refreshing with watching the council meetings, as we could still agree to disagree and be civil about it and get points out there, and so there is some hope.
I'll always see the glass half full. I will always be the optimist. Always.
If I said next time we'll do this in person, but next time I screwed up. When you see this, I screwed up. The name plate under our heads. I had it in my head I was gonna do Clemson colors, and I ended up doing like a light green to go with the background. So next time I'll do the Clemson colors. I promise.
I don't see that, but I'll take orange and purple all day long. Go Tigers. Congratulations to Trevor Lawrence, who I'm told is getting married April 10th somewhere in our world that we call Beaufort County. Won't tell you where. Don't know. Wasn't invited. But he's amazing. Talk about a leader.
It could it be where Justin was married?
I
Maybe.
I
Yeah.
was invited. I
Yeah.
couldn't tell you,
Okay.
but
All right. Interesting. Interesting. All right. Gosh, I gotta write that down. I gotta get on the
I
hunt.
know he loves this area.
Yeah.
And he's been downtown in the past, and I would never bother him.
No.
But
That's
what a
cool though.
cool
That's
young man,
awesome.
such a fan. But yeah, so April 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, right in there. Keep an eye out for big burly people because I'm sure they'll find Bluffton.
Nice. Nice.
I'm gonna be walking around
Oh
Bluffton.
yeah, absolutely. We'll all be on the hunt.
I was walking around when Bieber was here, so didn't find him. I did meet the father-in-law though. I met Stephen Baldwin at Corner Perk.
Oh wow.
I
Nice.
know.
Nice. Now I'm trying to think. Okay, no, he's done a lot of cop movies. He's not the one that was in the Sharon Stone movie, the Sliver movie. That was Billy Baldwin, I think. So
Stephen Baldwin was in a car series. I don't know. I just, you know,
yeah,
really don't know. I just knew when I saw him, he wasn't a normal person because he was all in gear. And I'm like,
yeah,
8 minute corner perk, and I pegged it.
nice,
I,
nice.
yeah, I just chased him and told him hello. I do that.
Mayor Lisa Sulka, mayor of the town of Bluff. So town of Bluff. Okay, so that's the other thing, real quick, that I hear a lot. All right, is there a population that we hit that we have to be called a city?
Never. We
Good.
are always going to be a town.
Good.
And I will stop you in your tracks if you call us a city. We are a town. Beaufort's a city. Hardyville's a city. Hilton Head's an island. I think they call town of Hilton Head.
They do. Yeah.
Town keeps that mental note that we're small, even though we're growing.
Nice. A lot of people will be happy to hear the town of Bluffton, Mayor Lisa Sulka. Huge thank you for the time and the ask me anything attitude here with this, and just a pleasure to catch up with you.
Good, you too. We will cross each other soon, I know.
All right, hang on the line.